If there's one movie I've seen over and over in my comments for me to cover, it's 2007's Wreck, a Spanish found-footage horror movie about a TV reporter who gets trapped in an apartment building while an unknown infectious breakout occurs. Now, I've seen the American version of this, Quarantine, which was released a year later. In fact, I didn't even know Wreck existed until years later after Quarantine came out, so this is a first-time watch for me. I've never seen this movie before, so let's see why it's got everyone spooked. Let's get into it. We start off with a live broadcast from our main character, Angela, a reporter for a news segment called While You're Asleep, which honestly just sounds stressful. You know how much wild shit goes on while we're asleep? And off rip, I already like Angela's vibe. It's interesting to see how she navigates having to do multiple takes for her intro to the show. And here's a little tidbit for you guys. The hardest part of my job is not the script writing, the editing, or even the thumbnails. It's the voiceover recordings that get me. I'm either talking too fast, or talking too slow, or you can hear the saliva in my mouth.
That's disgusting.
Or I just can't say a sentence correctly. Mind you, I'm a fantastic reader. I think I just have a speech impediment or something. Long story short, I feel her pain on having to do multiple takes. Anyway, for tonight's episode, she's going to be shadowing her local fire station. She'll be following around the firefighters on their nightly rounds throughout the city. We then cut to her about to interview a firefighter named Andrew. He's the boss for this specific shift. But the funny part before this is that she whispers to the camera saying if he's a pain in the ass, cut it because I don't want to waste the footage. She's about her business. I respect that. He takes her inside to one of the lockers to try on their gear so she can see what it feels like to be on the job. Manuela Valesco, really hope I pronounced that right, is honestly a standout so far. That's the actress who plays Angela. She's charismatic, sarcastic, not afraid to crack a joke. Some find her girls are like watching a piece of cardboard act. And it kind of takes the emotional stakes out of it because you don't really care about the character at that point. Most of this opening sequence is just Angela interviewing the firemen. Nothing too exciting. It seems to be a boring night so far. Enjoy it while you can. While playing a game of basketball with the guys, the alarm goes off. A person is trapped in an apartment building and needs to be rescued. They all put on their gear and haul ass to the apartment building. The person driving is Jose, and Alex and Manu are the other two firemen they're accompanying. They make it to the apartment building, and if someone was to ask me to give them the best example of being overstimulated, I would show them this scene right here. Everyone's just talking over each other. People are restless. No one's listening. I mean, I felt overwhelmed and I wasn't even in this room. According to the police and some eyewitnesses who live in the building, an older woman had fell and hurt herself. She was screaming bloody murder. Now, according to the tenants, she's a strange lady anyway. Never leaves the house, has no family, the usual hermit activities. I don't like this already. One of the officers also isn't very enthused about Angela and her cameraman being there, but what can you do? This is primetime television, Baldy. I got a family to feed. Yet the show is called While You Sleep. You just have to be a hater all your life, huh? That's how you age quickly. You're gonna look 50 when you're 30. Just get back to the movie. Anyway, they make it upstairs and they bust into the room, and something is very wrong. Disturbingly so. Also, the cameraman, Pablo, is a f***ing idiot. He's knocking shit over, turning on the bright-ass camera light out of nowhere when no one told him to. I legitimately think he's walking around with blinders on. The old lady who lives in this apartment is in a very bad state. She's jumbled, covered in blood, and she's not really responding to anything the policeman is saying. They tell Pablo to stop filming, so he puts the camera down, but secretly he's still recording. The bald policeman honestly just wants them to leave. He tells the fireman he doesn't want anyone in this room while they wait for the paramedics to come. Mind you, this woman is screaming every 5 seconds at the top of her lungs. And then the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life happens. She straight up lunges at Baldy's basis of education and learning and starts biting him. Now, I can't express how this went from 0 to 100 without showing you a little bit of the hysteria, so watch this. Like, I was in my seat screaming, oh she bit him, oh my god, what the f. Loud as hell, mind you. I'm sure the people who live with me thought I was the one being bit. The practical effects are really good as well. The way the skin on his neck disconnects and you see the flesh coming off and blood starts squirting out, it's disgusting, but in like the best way possible. Now, while this is all happening, Angela's in the background screaming at Pablo what she should do. Motherfucker, how am I supposed to know? All I got is a camera and hopes and dreams. I can't do nothing for you. Also, this is an undercover zombie flick and he got bit. I think you can connect the dots from here. They make it down the stairs, once again in complete hysteria, and the lights go out for a split second. And for some reason now, Pablo doesn't want to turn his bright ass camera light on. You were so eager earlier, what changed? Anyway, they get the lights back on and they make it down the stairs, but for some reason they're not being let out of the building. No one's telling them why until they hear someone's voice outside with a megaphone telling them the health authorities are advising they stay inside for their own safety, and that they'll try to get them out as soon as possible. They also emphasize staying calm. Now, what have we learned about horror movies, my friends? Whenever they tell the characters to do one thing, what do? The complete opposite. Now let's rewind a bit because I have some thoughts. Number one, they somehow figured out that something dangerous and highly infectious is in this building already, and have decided to seal it off to protect everyone on the outside world. Now, mind you, they haven't been in this building that long, so it's crazy how they already figured out what was going on. Unless they already knew. Because my second theory is that they don't plan on letting them out at all. They're only saying that to calm their nerves while they wait it out. Let the infection take over everyone in the building while they handle the cleanup. Now, we're only 17 minutes into the movie, and mind you, when I write these scripts, the initial first draft is my first reaction to the movie. So I haven't watched ahead to know if anything I said was accurate or not. But I'm interested to see where things go from here. Also, everyone is irritating the shit out of me. They're all asking questions at once. They don't want Pablo filming. Angela's cussing out the policeman about her being able to film and she doesn't care what he says. It's just a lot going on right now. But honestly, I feel like this is super accurate to what will happen in real life. When in distress, people become irritable. You're gonna get 5 million questions and probably have answers to none. You're gonna get tempers rising, and you're definitely gonna get screaming and chaos depending on how dire the situation is. And it's not only impressive to have the characters in the movie express this in such a believable way, but to also have the viewer's anxiety just as high. And I fear it may only get worse from here. The policeman is slowly dying and they need to find a way out of here. One of the tenants says her husband is outside and says cops are everywhere blocking the streets. But before we can even digest that information, a fireman named Alex comes flying down to the ground. I'm talking splat. This movie does a really good job at these loud, sudden moments. It's not completely out of nowhere. You can hear Alex screaming on his way down, but you are not expecting him to come crashing down like that. They start screaming and arguing if they should move him or not, but while that's happening, they hear screaming coming from upstairs. And both the policeman and the fireman decide to head upstairs to see what's going on. The younger policeman is fed up and actually gets Pablo to stop filming. But shortly after that, the camera comes back on and Angela tells Pablo she doesn't care what they say and never stop filming. And they go upstairs? Is that not where this old lady treated this guy's neck like a prime rib roast? But honestly, I wouldn't want to be in either of these places. Downstairs with scared civilians and 2 bloody bodies, or upstairs with Grandma Strikes Back. They get upstairs and make their way through the apartment building once again, but for some reason Pablo decides he's gonna venture off on his own, while Angela is actively calling his name telling him to come back. What's going on with Pablo in this movie, man? He's just making all the worst decisions ever, with the most monotone voice on top of that. This part actually scared me a little bit. A girl comes around the corner screaming after being bit, and the bloody witch of the west comes around the corner as well. The policeman tells her to stay back, but she lunges towards him and he has no choice but to put her down. Now we got 4 dead bodies. Oh, I guess the 2 policemen from earlier are still alive, so 2 dead bodies. Shit, it's about to be 4. They ain't making it out of here. Also, I know it's a small area, but this gun sounds extremely loud. Like a heavy type of loud. What the fuck did he shoot? A Desert Eagle? Also, rest in peace, Granny. Cause of death? Bazooka. Side note, after this, Angela asked Pablo to play the footage back for some reason. You really think I wouldn't be getting this sick shit in front of me, Angela? And this police officer needs to chill out. He is really not a fan of them filming. And any chance he gets, he will try to get this camera turned off. They make it back downstairs, and Mano instructs the other police officer to stay with the window while he goes to check the exits. Squidward here says they should follow orders and stay in the hall. Motherfucker, did we just witness the same thing? Follow orders my ass. We got 2 people dead. The other 2 are bleeding out as we speak. Everyone's on edge, and we need to get the hell out of here. They make it to another exit, but this one is also sealed up. In fact, the whole building has been sealed off and a BNC protocol has been issued. What does BNC mean? Oh, it's for biological, nuclear, or chemical threat situations. Biological, nuclear, or chemical threat situations, we are no longer safe. I mean, once they stepped into this building, they weren't safe anymore, but this is on a whole other level. Then they talk about a health inspector will be there shortly to assess the situation. Who? The motherfucker from SpongeBob? What is a health inspector gonna do? Is it a government-issued health inspector? I'd feel better if that was the case. Also, this mom is worried about her daughter because her fever has gone up. Because of course she just happens to have tonsillitis. On top of this, none of their cell phones are working either. And none of the TVs are operational. All technology has been deemed useless in this building. Sounds like the work of an EMP. The guy in charge of the building suggests they head up to one of the offices and jump down onto the patio. He breaks a glass case open and grabs the keys and they all head upstairs. Well, minus the uptight policeman. They open the doors and this place is surrounded by police. They got helicopters circling the area, canines, the whole 9 yards. The police outside instruct everyone to stay inside for their own safety. You know, the craziest thing is, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we are not safe in here. People are taking bites out of other people. Also, the 2 men downstairs that you guys are trying to save, danger to the rest of us. I don't know how this infection works yet, but I know it gives the person one hell of an appetite. And to no one's surprise, they sell off this part of the building as well. Squidward's back and once again is all up in people's faces. Angela is not having it though, it tells them to back off. And honestly, Angela is a little bit in the wrong here, at least in my opinion. She is very aggressive without the need of being so. She even pushes the guy back. And then out of nowhere, they all start chastising him, saying they want answers. And that if he's in there with them, they must not care about him either. And then he just snaps. He pulls out his gun on all of them and tells them to shut up and go back downstairs. The policeman outside tells everyone they need to calm down and that they need to listen to the agent for their own safety. They apologize for the inconvenience, but there is no use trying to escape. They can't leave and they gotta suck it up. Squidward apologizes and everyone takes a deep breath and heads back downstairs. Angela doesn't seem very satisfied with the situation, but what can you do? It's 2 o'clock in the morning now and they're all still in the building. Both of the injured men are being treated by Guillaume, who is only really equipped to give them shots to numb the pain. They have bandages to cover the wounds, but there's not much more they can do. We get 2 interviews that aren't really worth the time. An old couple argues and one lady tells them about the guy who fell from the staircase. She also interviews Jennifer here, who is only 7. Poor thing. She talks about her being a little sick and that she has a dog named Max who she really loves. Aw, she's so adorable. I hope nothing bad happens to her. I'm not saying that as a foreshadowing joke. I honestly hope nothing bad happens to her. She's gonna be okay, right? Yeah, totally. She'll be fine. You sure? You don't sound too confident about that. 1000% she'll be just fine. Alright, well, I'll take your word for it. Squidward lets them know that the health inspector is finally on his way. They want to take blood samples from everyone, and once everything comes back okay, they'll be free to go. Hate to sound like a pessimist, but I feel like that's not gonna happen. They do a head count of everyone and what floor they live on. One of the ladies mentions that her father is sick and bedridden upstairs, since she wants everyone to be accounted for. Then they start blaming her dad for all of this happening? because since he's sick, it must be his fault. Real rational thinking here, guys. Jennifer's sick too since we're pointing fingers, lady. The health inspector finally enters the building and Squidward gives him the breakdown of the situation. He requests to see the injured, and for some reason Pablo is all up in his face. Pablo, back the fuck up. They already aren't a fan of you filming in the first place. No need to invade their personal space as well. And Angela is out of her rabbit ass mind if she thinks they're gonna release them and she's able to keep this camera. They are confiscating the fuck out of this thing. Anyway, the health inspector asks why they're here and the camera cuts. The camera cuts back on and Jennifer is staring into our souls while her mom scolds her not to touch anything. Angela pulls Pablo to the side and proposes a pretty interesting theory, but also an obvious one. Since both the policeman and the fireman have been bit, it's a good chance they can react the same way the old lady did, which would be real bad for the rest of us. Angela and Pablo head over to the room they're keeping the injured men, but Squidward closes the door so they sneak to a nearby window. Pablo films everything while Angela is yelling at him to tell her what he sees. Angela, if you were gonna ask me 21 questions, you could have at least gotten up here with me. The health inspector handcuffs both of the injured men and injects them with something. And everything seems normal so far. Well, as normal as things can be in a situation like this. But then one of the infected men jumps up, and the other one does the same. Chaos ensues for a second and it looks like Guillaume gets bitten, but he doesn't. Although the health inspector locks him in there anyway, and we get some new unnerving information. You can catch the infection through saliva as well. You don't necessarily have to be bitten. I feel like this will be important later. The health inspector says that both of the men are handcuffed, so Guillaume should be fine, right? You know, sometimes I need to shut my big mouth. Well, shit has somehow gone from bad to worse to catastrophic. And we can assume that Guillaume is dead. R.I.P. my boy Guillaume. Oh, did I say catastrophic earlier? Fuck that. We are astronomically down bad. They make it back to the lobby and demand the health inspector tell them what's going on. He explains that they got intel that a dog was taken into the vet with an unknown disease. Soon after, the dog became very aggressive and started attacking other animals in the shelter. They tracked the chip in the dog's ear and it led them to this building. Oh no. She talks about her being a little sick and that she has a dog named Max who she really loves.
And that she has a dog named Max who she really loves. The dog named Max who she really loves.
James, you fucking liar. I'm sorry, I didn't have the heart to tell you. You look so naive and hopeful of the future and shit. I'll deal with you later. Angela asks him if the dog's name was Max, and he says, yes. Big fucking surprise. They all turn around to Jennifer and her mom, and her mom is still insisting it's just tonsillitis. The health inspector steps closer to her and says they just have to make sure, and right on cue, Jennifer bites her mom in the face. She screams at everyone and then runs upstairs. Okay, let's rewind a bit. Was Jennifer just waiting in dormant for them to find out she was infected? She was just fine a minute ago. I guess it takes a little bit for the infection to go into full effect, so she's not gonna be aggressive off rip. But damn, as soon as we find out she got infected by Max, shit hits the fan. They handcuff Mari, that's Jennifer's mom's name, and man, do I feel bad for this woman. During this whole scene, she's just yelling out Jennifer's name. I mean, yeah, she's been a little annoying and entitled, but she was just worried about her daughter the whole time, which is a slap in the face because unfortunately her daughter is the reason we're in this mess. The health inspector gives Manu a syringe. I'm assuming it's filled with the same stuff he injected those men with earlier. I wonder what this is. A vaccine of sorts? Doesn't seem so. I'm assuming it's to calm their symptoms. And even worse, the old lady and the Colombian girl from earlier are both gone. One of them being shot, mind you. These must be Resident Evil zombies. Just fucking walking bullet sponges. They proceed forward and we get the creepiest shot I've seen so far. Jennifer, hey sweetie. Look, I don't want the smoke. Honestly, I can find Max for you and y'all can go to zombie paradise together. Oh shit! Now, as chaotic as this scene may be, how strong is this toddler? This 7-year-old little girl is giving these 3 grown men the work. Unfortunately, Squidward is bitten and they all run away. The old lady is back and Manu mollywops her with a shovel. Honestly, I can't explain how well this movie expresses chaos through the screen. It's loud, it's jarring, it's scary, it's unnerving, all the words you can think of. They attempt to uncuff Mari, but why are they trying to uncuff her? There is no indication we have a vaccine or a cure to this thing. To be honest, she's as good as dead. And that may sound harsh, but it's survival of the fittest right now. But even if they wanted to, they can't. Because Squidward had the keys. And he's a little busy at the moment, you know, being undead and all that. Also, you don't have a spare key? How inconvenient is that? Well, it's too late now because the creatures from the crypt break into the room and everyone runs away, leaving Mari behind, who's still handcuffed to the stairs. And they treat her like a rack of ribs. They book it upstairs and barricade themselves behind a locked door. The infected aggressively bang on it and eventually they give up and start going upstairs. They all catch their breath and try to break down what the hell is happening. One of the tenants says they can just wait here until they come and save them. But Angela doesn't think anyone's coming to save them. She thinks they're gonna wait it out and let them all die in here, which was also my theory. But Caesar, that's the tenant's name, reminds them that the inspector is still here. And I'm pretty sure they care about getting him out. And that's a good point, and would be the case if he wasn't infected. What? Yeah, when Mono goes to confront him, they find him hunched over and he tells him to go away because he's been bitten. Damn it! That literally could have been our way out. The inspector could have convinced them to let him out and everything. Maybe it wouldn't have been that simple, but it definitely would have helped. Also, why at any point would you take any piece of your suit off? If this virus is as infectious and dangerous as you say, then doing this was the dumbest thing you could have possibly done. He closes the gate and locks himself in the room before the infection can completely take over. They run to the windows, but the authorities outside tell them to back up, or they'll be forced to take drastic measures. AKA, touch the window one more time and we'll shoot the shit out you. Then Caesar remembers there may may be another way for them to get out. There's an underground storage area in the workshop that leads to the sewers. Unfortunately, there's a reinforced door, and the keys are in Gideon's apartment. But before they can even think of executing this plan, the now infected inspector breaks through the glass and bites Caesar. They run out of the room and Angela asks Mano if he knows where Guillaume lives, since he did have the list of where all the tenants live, back when he was doing his head count from earlier. But Mano can't remember, and I don't blame him. Way too much shit has occurred since that head count. But then Angela remembers they have mailboxes, which has where they live on them. That's good thinking, Angela. Nice. By the way, has that guy always been behind you? Shout out to Manu once again because he straight up punches this guy in the face and breaks his neck. Is this Manu or Kano? Jesus Christ. They head downstairs to the mailboxes and find out what floor Guillaume lives on. But uh-oh, Mari is awake. They somehow juke past her and head up the stairs. They keep running and god damn it. Manu, being the goat, strangles this woman with a rope, ultimately saving Angela, but for some reason she claims she's been bitten, but Manu confirms she has not. The stair lights go out again, but they can't find the switch, so Pablo uses the torch on the camera and oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. They scrap with the infected lady and Manu is able to pin her down. Angela grabs a nearby mallet and he bashes her head in. Bro, Manu is just catching body after body in this movie. They make it up to the apartment and find the keys. Well, actually, they find too many keys. They don't know which one is the right one, so Angela just grabs all of them. They head outside of the apartment and Angela asks where Manu is, but they done got my boy. They try to get through a door, but it's locked, so Angela has to shuffle through all the keys, and I physically had to look away from the scene. The tension in this scene of Angela shuffling through the keys while the infected are running up the stairs is anxiety-inducing. Thankfully, Angela finds the right keys and they make it inside. The infected skedaddle once again, and Pablo is trying to fix the camera light, which takes a little too long for me. Like, they are in the dark for a good minute before he turns the light on. He finally gets it on and they're in the apartment that was closed off. But there is a lot of weird shit in here. News articles about demonic possession, test tubes and unknown substances, pictures of various girls and women with their faces scratched off. One of the articles Angela reads is that the Vatican is investigating a possible possession of a little girl from Portugal. Now, is this implying that the infection is not just here? Because in my head, I'm assuming that this little girl got infected in Portugal. This disease is still unknown and we don't really know the origins of it. And since they had no rational explanations of what's going on, they just blamed it on demonic possession. If that's the case, then it doesn't matter if the situation gets controlled in this building. If this shit is already popping up in places around the world, then it's GG's. Speaking of GG's, I have a gaming channel where I play scary shit called Greaves Gaming. Link in the description, shameless plug. But seriously though, if my theory is right, then everybody's fucked. And on top of that, the hospital holding the girl refused to release her. Some noises above them scare Angela and she goes to Pablo for comfort. Man, she's so scared in this scene, I feel bad for her. She chose the wrong night to shadow these firefighters. Every person she came in with / met is now dead. Or I guess undead. It's just her and Pablo now. Which it is extremely convenient that Pablo hasn't gotten bitten yet. He's had some infected during Busta Rhymes music videos in the camera, but he's pretty much unscathed. Angela finds more articles and records about the little girl, and she theorizes the same thing I did. This little girl might have something to do with the terrifying events that have happened in this building so far. They also find a tape recorder, and Angela irritates the hell out of me in this scene. It sounds like an older gentleman on the tape. Mind you, there is some valuable information being said on this recorder, but Angela just keeps asking, what is he talking about? Motherfucker, if you listen, you'll know! Whoever this is on the recorder is hoping to create a vaccine for whatever this infection is. Although he's not having the best of luck, but he's still optimistic. During his studies, he comes to the realization that it works similar to the flu, and that it might be contagious. You don't say. Then after he receives a telegram from Rome, he decides he has no other choice but to kill the girl from Portugal. And it seems like this is leading somewhere interesting, but Angela keeps touching the damn tape recorder. But he comes to the realization that the girl must die and that any record of her must be erased, and that he has to be the one to kill her himself. And more key information, he says that he'll seal off the apartment and that should keep her inside. Wait, she's here? Right now? And Angela isn't even fucking listening. She's too busy looking around and breathing hard. If you took a deep breath and listened to the tape, you'd know you're in danger right now. Then all of a sudden the latch that leads to the attic bursts open. And for some reason Pablo says he'll take a look, which is the dumbest idea ever. But hey, Pablo's been doing dumb shit all movie, so this is pretty much in character for him. And even though I saw this upcoming jump scare from a mile away, it still scared me. Pablo slowly pans the camera around the attic, and once he gets to a certain part, we see a child swing at the camera and the lights go out. For good this time. Because whatever that was broke the light on the camera. And now we gotta navigate this bitch through night vision. I don't care how many times it's been used, night vision will always scare the hell out of me when it comes to found footage. I don't know what it is, probably the lack of color or grainy look of it, but it would never not hit for me. Angela grabs onto Pablo, and I don't know if he'd be the person I trust to lead us. I mean, the guy can barely navigate a fucking staircase. Now this next part, I was not expecting this next part at all. Something starts moving in the darkness. Pablo sees it and tells Angela to go back. And good lord, does this thing look horrifying. I mean, absolutely unnerving. Now I gotta censor this because she's straight up naked minus some nasty looking draws, but look at this. There's some grave encounters looking shit. Shit, in my opinion, it's done better. Pablo and Angela are hiding in the corner trying to stay as silent as possible. I'm assuming assuming this is the Portuguese girl, but it seems like she's fully grown now and has mutated into something completely unrecognizable. While her back is turned, Pablo thinks this is the perfect time for them to get the hell out of Dodge. But for some reason, Angela is in front of him, which is a terrible idea because she can't see. So she ends up bumping into something and alarming the creature. It chases after them, and unfortunately, we're gonna have to say goodbye to Pablo. Damn, I mean, at least he lasted this long. He gets beat on with the hammer that the girl has in her hand. When Angela gathers herself and grabs the camera, he's already being eaten. R.I.P. my boy Pablo. I mean, he kind of was a dunce the entire movie, but hey, the guy's dead. Cut him some slack. And then the creature lady knocks Angela down to the floor. And this shot was probably the most recognizable for me, because I remember seeing this scene out of context, but I also remember it from Quarantine. Angela slowly crawls towards the camera and hears a screech off in the distance. There's a moment of silence, but she's ultimately dragged off into the darkness and the movie ends. Also, I know there's a couple of sequels and I know Angela is at least in one of them, so I know she's not dead. Although I'm interested to see how they explain her survival. And that, my friends, is Wreck. Alright, now it's theory checking time. I was right. The authorities indeed had no interest in saving these people to begin with. They essentially gave them false hope in an attempt to calm them down and eventually kill themselves off. Another thing, my theory about the Portuguese girl from earlier was kinda right. It's implied that the infection is indeed demonic, which is a little bit lame for me. I was hoping it wasn't anything supernatural, but still scary nonetheless. And the Portuguese girl essentially was patient zero. She was the catalyst of this whole thing, so my bad for blaming it on Max and Jennifer earlier. Well, it still kinda is Max's fault. I just wonder how he got infected when his apartment was sealed off. All in all, I really enjoyed this one. This is one of the most anxiety-inducing, chaos-ensued, unnerving movies I've watched in a long time. And it's crazy because it's from 2007, and it still holds up fantastically today. I mean, of course you gotta get some characters making stupid decisions, and some things have to happen to move the plot forward that kinda don't make sense. But those are very minor gripes for an otherwise stellar found footage horror movie. I see why this film gets the props that it does. I'm interested to check out the sequels and Quarantine eventually, since it's been a long time since I've seen that movie. Probably since it came out. Have you seen Wreck? If so, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. If not, definitely go watch this one. You will have a scary good time, I promise. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like and subscribe. Hype the video up as well if you can. And once again, thank you for 20,000 subscribers. What the heck? That is unreal. It's crazy how much the channel has grown in the last month. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. I mean it. My name is Greaves, and as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.